At Thanksgiving, my mom said, "She's not family. She's just the ATM." I was standing in the hallway outside the dining room when I heard it. My hand froze on the doorframe. The pie I'd bought, the expensive one from that bakery downtown she loved, sat on the counter behind me, still in its box. "She thinks she's one of us." Mom's voice. Quiet.
Certain.
"She's just the ATM. Has been for years." My sister laughed. That specific laugh. The one that means agreement. My legs didn't move. My chest went cold, not sharp, but slow, like ice spreading through water. 6 years. I'd paid their mortgage for 6 years. Cover my brother's business loans. Funded my sister's IVF treatments. Bought the groceries for this exact dinner. The turkey they were about to eat. The wine they were drinking while they talked about me like I was a direct deposit that occasionally showed up in person. I could hear them still talking. My brother said something I couldn't make out. More laughter. The thing is, I'd driven 2 hours to get here. Left work early, again because family comes first. That's what I'd always believed. I'd stopped at that bakery even though it was out of my way. Spent $40 on a pie because Mom mentioned she loved their pecan. And she was in there right now telling my siblings I wasn't really family. Here's the thing about being underestimated your whole life. You learn to be very, very quiet. You learn to listen. You learn to wait. And I'd been waiting for 6 years. Because what my family didn't know, what they couldn't have known while they sat there judging me, dismissing me, spending my money, was that I'd stopped being their ATM 3 days ago. They just hadn't realized it yet. I picked up the pie, walked back into that dining room, and smiled. I'm Elena Moore. I'm 32, and I manage a $400 million investment portfolio. I've spent 6 years being invisible to my family, but that was about to change. Comment below where you're watching from, and if you've ever been the family ATM, drop a heart emoji. You're going to want to hear what happened next. It started the way these things always start, with someone needing help. My mom called me on a Tuesday in March 6 years ago. I was 26, 2 years into my first real job at Redstone Capital. Junior analyst. 60-hour weeks. Barely making rent on my studio in Brooklyn. Elena, honey. Her voice had that specific lightness. The one she used when she needed something. Your father and I are in a bit of a situation. The situation was that they were 3 months behind on their mortgage. Dad's construction business had slowed down. They needed $8,000. Just temporary. They'd pay me back. I gave them $10,000. They didn't pay me back. For months later, my brother Marcus called. His landscaping company needed new equipment. Banks wouldn't loan to him. Could I help? Just $15,000. He'd pay me back within the year. I gave him $20,000. He didn't pay me back either. Then my sister Riley needed money for her second round of IVF. Insurance wouldn't cover it. $12,000. I wrote the check before she finished asking. She never said thank you. Just texted, "Got it. Thanks." It kept going. Year after year. The requests got bigger. The promises to repay got quieter. Eventually, they stopped promising at all. And I kept a record of every single one. I kept giving. Because that's what you do when you love your family, right? You help. You sacrifice. You show up. Even when they don't show up for you. The years blurred together after that. I got promoted to senior analyst when I was 28. Then associate. Then VP. My salary climbed. My bonuses grew. And the more I made, the more they needed. I paid for Dad's medical bills after his heart attack. I covered Riley's mortgage when her husband lost his job. I invested in Marcus's business expansion, another $50,000 that disappeared into equipment and payroll and overhead. I bought them cars, paid for vacations, covered insurance premiums and credit card debt and property taxes. I paid for everything. And nobody came to my promotion dinner. I'd made VP at 30, the youngest in my division, and I'd reserved a table at a nice restaurant. Sent the invite 3 weeks in advance. Mom said she had a doctor's appointment. Dad was tired. Marcus had a client meeting. Riley's baby had a cold. I sat alone at that table for 2 hours. Drank expensive wine by myself. The waiter kept asking if I was waiting for someone. I tipped him $60 and left. The next week, Marcus called asking for money to fix his truck. I sent it the same day. And I never said no. Not once. Because I kept waiting for the moment when they'd see me. Really see me. Not as the family bank account, but as Elena. Their daughter. Their sister. The woman who showed up. Who sacrificed. Who loved them even when it hurt. That moment never came. That night changed everything. Last Thanksgiving, 1 year ago, I'd shown up with wine and flowers and my usual check for Mom and Dad's heating bills. I'd sat at the table and listened to Marcus talk about his business, like it was his success alone. Listened to Riley describe the nursery she was designing for the baby I'd helped pay to conceive.
No one said thank you.
No one acknowledged what I'd given up. The vacations I didn't take. The apartment I couldn't afford to upgrade. The retirement savings I'd drained. I sat there, invisible, while they celebrated lives I'd funded. A quiet crack spread through everything I thought I knew about my family. I drove home that night and pulled up my bank records. Every transaction. Every wire transfer. Every check. 6 years of payments. $470,000. Almost $500,000. I sat at my kitchen table at midnight, staring at the numbers on my laptop screen. My throat tightened. The crack widened into something I couldn't ignore anymore. They didn't love me. They loved what I could give them. And I was going to make sure they understood that. So, I made a plan. I didn't cut them off immediately. That would have been too obvious. Too clean. Instead, I did what I do best. I planned. I'm good at my job for a reason. I analyze risk. I identify patterns. I make strategic decisions based on data, not emotion. So I treated my family like a failing investment. I pulled my records. Every loan, every gift, every emergency payment. I documented it all. Dates, amounts, promises made and broken. Then I hired a lawyer. Not for a lawsuit. I didn't want their money back. I just wanted protection. Documentation that every dollar had been a gift, not a loan, so they couldn't come after me later claiming I owed them something. That's when she found it. My lawyer was reviewing the records when she stopped. Looked up at me. Did you know your brother has been telling your parents you offer to pay for everything? I stared at her. What? She showed me her notes from a call with my parents' mortgage company. Marcus had listed himself as a reference. Told them I was generously volunteering to cover payments. That I'd insisted. For 2 years, my family thought I was showing off. Flaunting my money. Playing savior. Marcus had made sure of it. The betrayal doubled. Then tripled. Then I stopped paying. Not all at once. Gradually. Like a faucet turning off. First, I forgot to send Mom and Dad's mortgage payment in September. When Mom called, I apologized. Said work had been crazy. Sent a check a week late. October, I sent it 2 weeks late. November, I didn't send it at all. When Mom called, I let it go to voicemail. Texted back, "So sorry, traveling for work. We'll send soon." I didn't send it. Marcus texted asking about his loan payment. I replied, "Cash flow issue, we'll sort next week." Next week came and went. Then, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, Marcus texted again. "Hey, emergency. Need $25,000 for equipment. Can you wire it today?" I stared at that message for a long time. $25,000. Like it was nothing. Like I was an ATM he could access whenever he wanted. I typed back, "Can't help right now." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared.
Appeared again.
Seriously? After everything we've done for you? I blocked his number. Riley called about her car payment. I said I'd look into it. Then I didn't respond to her follow-ups. By early November, I'd stopped answering most of their calls. I responded to texts with vague assurances. I was busy. I was traveling. I'd get back to them soon. And then I waited for Thanksgiving. I knew exactly what would happen. They'd all be there, Mom, Dad, Marcus and his wife Jessica, Riley and her husband Connor and their baby, plus my Aunt Linda and Uncle Ray. The whole family gathered around a table I used to pay to fill. They'd drink the wine I didn't buy. eat the food I didn't fund. And they'd talk about me. I knew they would. Because people like my family, people who take and take and take, they always talk about the person who stops giving.
They don't ask why.
They don't reflect. They get angry.
And I wanted to hear it.
I needed to hear it. So I showed up early to Mom and Dad's house. Let myself in with my old key. Put the pie in the kitchen. And then I stood in the hallway just out of sight and listened. Where has she been? That was Riley's voice from the dining room. She didn't even respond to my text about the baby's birthday. Marcus answered her. She's been weird lately. Distant. Then Jessica, Marcus's wife, the one I'd given $5,000 for dental work 2 years ago, chimed in. She's always been a little off. Like, too focused on work. My mother's voice cut through. Matter of fact. Casual. Well, she doesn't have anything else. No husband. No kids. Just that job. I heard glasses clinking. Someone refilling wine. The sound echoed in the hallway where I stood frozen. Riley spoke again, sharper this time. She thinks she's better than us. Ever since she got that promotion. Like she's some big shot. Then my mother said it. The words that ended everything. She's not family, really. I mean, she is, but she doesn't get it. Doesn't get what family means. She's just the ATM. Has been for years. Silence. Then laughter. My sister. My brother. My mother. All of them. Laughing. The cold spread from my chest to my fingertips. My jaw locked. I placed my palm flat against the wall. Breathed through my nose. 6 years. $470,000. And this was what they thought of me. My hands steadied. My breathing evened out. I was done. I picked up the pie. Walked into the dining room. Everyone looked up. Smiles appeared like someone had flipped a switch. Instant.
Fake.
My mother stood first, arms open wide. Elena, there you are. We were just talking about you. I set the pie down on the table. The thud echoed. My voice came out steady.
Come.
I heard. I was standing right outside. The smiles died. Riley's face drained of color. Marcus looked at Jessica, then back at me. My Aunt Linda's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. No one moved. Honey. My mother's voice cracked. I stayed standing while they all sat below me. The power in the room had shifted. I could feel it. I need to tell you all something. I know you've been wondering where I've been. Why I haven't been responding. Why the checks stopped coming. My father shifted in his chair. The leather creaked. Elena, if this is about money. It's not about money. I looked at each of them. One by one. Let the silence stretch. It's about the fact that for 6 years, I gave you everything. My savings.
My time.
My future. And you never once saw me as anything more than a bank account. Riley's voice came out broken. That's not true. We love you. The word fell flat.
No.
You love what I gave you. There's a difference. Marcus leaned forward, hands on the table. Elena, come on. We're family. I let that word hang in the air. Let them hear how empty it sounded. Family. You want to know what I did 3 days ago? I met with a financial advisor. And I calculated exactly how much I've given you over the last 6 years. I pulled the folded paper from my coat pocket. Placed it on the table between us. The sound of paper on wood was the only noise in the room. $470,000. No one breathed. That's how much I've paid. Your mortgages. Your business loans. Your medical bills. Your credit cards. Your vacations. Everything. My mother's hand trembled as she reached for her wine glass. It rattled against the table. I leaned forward, palms flat on the wood. My voice stayed level. Cold. And you know what? I wouldn't have cared. I would have kept giving. Because I loved you. Because I thought that's what family does. The silence pressed down on all of us. But you just called me an ATM. And you're right. That's all I've ever been to you. My father finally spoke. His voice came out rough, defensive. You don't understand the pressure we've been under. I don't understand. I straightened. Looked directly at him. I worked 80-hour weeks so you wouldn't lose your house. I canceled vacations so Marcus could expand his business. I ate ramen for months so Riley could have her baby. My voice never rose. That made it cut deeper. And not one of you came to my VP promotion dinner. Not one. The silence felt like it would suffocate us all. Jessica looked away. Connor studied his plate like it held answers. You know what the worst part was? I kept making excuses for you. I told myself you were busy, you had your own problems. But you weren't too busy to call when you needed money. My mother's voice came out small. You had a doctor's appointment. Remember? I kept my eyes on her. Except I called the office the next day. You'd canceled it 2 weeks before. Her face crumbled. Connor cleared his throat. Riley's husband, trying to save the moment. Elena, I think you're overreacting. I'm not. The words came out flat. Final. I stopped making payments 8 weeks ago. Your mortgage, mom and dad? 3 months overdue. Marcus, your business loan? The bank started calling 2 weeks ago. Riley, your car payment? It bounced. Marcus shot to his feet. His chair scraped against the floor. You can't just. I can. I did. I buttoned my coat.
Slowly.
Deliberately. And here's what you don't understand. I didn't stop because I was angry. I stopped because I finally realized something. I looked at each of them one last time. You were never going to see me. You were never going to appreciate me. You were never going to love me the way I loved you. Jessica's voice came out high-pitched.
Panicked.
This is insane. You're really going to destroy your family over. I cut her off. I didn't destroy this family. You did. All of you. The moment you decided I was worth more as a checkbook than as a person. I picked up my purse. The room stayed frozen. My mother stood, her face crumpling, tears starting. Elena, wait. Please. We can talk about this. We just did. I walked toward the door. No one moved. No one followed. When I reached the hallway, I turned back one last time. They were all still there.
Staring. Broken.
I smiled. It didn't reach my eyes. Oh, and one more thing. The pause stretched. I'm not coming to Christmas. 3 days after Thanksgiving, the calls started. My mother, sobbing on voicemail. My father, angry and demanding. Marcus, desperate. Riley pleading. I let them all go to voicemail. Deleted them without listening all the way through. On the 4th day, my brother showed up at my apartment building. I saw him through the security camera. I didn't let him in. We talked through the intercom. His voice crackled through the speaker. Elena, please. The bank is threatening foreclosure. Mom and Dad could lose the house. I pressed the button. Kept my voice flat. They've had 6 years to save money. They chose not to. You can't do this. His voice rose. Desperate now. We're family. You should have remembered that when you called me an ATM. Through the camera, I watched him step back. Saw his fist connect with the hallway wall. Then footsteps. Then nothing. Riley came the next day with the baby. Stood in my building's lobby. Tears streaming, bouncing the infant on her hip. I watched from upstairs. My hand reached for the door handle.
Stopped.
Pulled back. I remember them laughing. 6 years of being invisible. I took the back exit. For 5 days, they kept trying. Different numbers. Emails. Even a letter slipped under my door. I burned it without reading it. A week after Thanksgiving, I got a text from my mom. We're selling the house. I hope you're happy. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. I'm not happy. But I'm free. I blocked her number. Here's what I didn't tell them at Thanksgiving. What I couldn't tell them, because they wouldn't have understood. I didn't cut them off to punish them. I cut them off to save myself. Because every dollar I gave them was a piece of my future I sacrificed. Every check was a dream I deferred. Every loan was a part of me I handed over, hoping they'd finally see my worth. They never did. And somewhere around payment $470,000, I realized they never would. The week after I walked out of that Thanksgiving dinner, I went to therapy for the first time. Sat in that office and cried for 40 minutes straight. My therapist asked one question. When was the last time someone in your family asked how you were doing? I couldn't answer because I couldn't remember. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. So I stopped waiting for them to love me the way I deserved, and I started loving myself instead. It's been a year now. I'm 32. I manage a $400 million portfolio. I have an apartment with a view of the Hudson. I took a vacation to Portugal last month, my first real vacation in 7 years. I walked through Lisbon alone, ate pastéis de nata at a cafe overlooking the water, didn't check my phone for 3 days, and I felt lighter than I had in years. I have friends who see me,
Colleagues who respect me.
a life that's mine, not funded by my absence from it. My family hasn't spoken to me since that text. I heard through a mutual friend that they sold the house, that Marcus's business closed, that Riley and Connor are struggling. I also heard that Aunt Linda told everyone at church what happened, about the $470,000, about what my mother said,
About how they used me.
my mother stopped going to church after that. Couldn't face the questions. I heard she tried calling from my aunt's phone last week. I didn't answer. Part of me feels guilty. Late at night sometimes I wonder if I should have handled it differently. If I was too harsh. If I should reach out. But then I remember sitting alone at that restaurant on my promotion night. Remember the laughter in the dining room. Remember 6 years of being invisible. And I know I made the right choice. I don't feel good about it. But I don't feel guilty either. Because the person they tried to erase, the ATM they thought they could use forever, was never just a bank account. She was someone who deserved to be seen, to be valued, to be loved. And when they couldn't do that, she loved herself enough to walk away. I'm sitting in my apartment right now looking out at the city lights. In an hour, I'm meeting friends for dinner. Real friends. People who showed up when I told them what happened. Who didn't ask me for money or favors or sacrifices. They just asked if I was okay. And for the first time in 6 years, I am. My family will never understand that the person they called an ATM was actually the one who saved them for years. And the moment she stopped saving them, she finally saved herself. That's not cruelty. That's survival.
They wanted an ATM.
I chose to be Elena instead.